Good morning and welcome to the Young People's Report. I'm Andrew Woolcock.
And I'm Janine Karbowski. We're here on the news set at WEYI TV 25. And later in the show, we'll go behind the scenes and show you how a news story is put together.
We'll also take a look at a few activities local kids are involved in and announce the results of the YPR auditions.
But first, have you ever wondered how a letter you mail gets delivered? Kristen Harris did, and she stopped by at the Saginaw Post Office and has our story.
So you've written a letter, for example, to YPR. Now you need to mail it. Whether from a mailbox at home or from one on a street corner, it all goes to the same place, the post office. Once at the post office, our letter joins the rest of the mail to be sorted. The first step takes place on this machine. The employees all know this big purple device as Barney. On this, all of the large or odd-shaped mail is removed. Next, the mail is put in order. This machine makes sure all the stamps are facing the same direction. This is important because the next step is to cancel the stamp.
The advanced spacer canceller puts the mail in order, cancels the stamp, and then determines whether or not it's automation compatible. And what I mean by that is whether it can be processed by a machine or by a person.
After being canceled, our letter, along with the rest of the mail, moves on to be sorted. Our letter didn't have a computer barcode, but if it did, this machine would sort it by zip code for delivery. If the envelope has a typed address but no barcode, this machine actually reads the address and puts a barcode on the envelope. It is called an optical character reader, and not only does it read the zip code, it even checks to see if the address exists.
The optical character reader makes sure the street is in the city is in the state, and then it sprays on a barcode that corresponds with that information at a rate of 10 per second.
Since our envelope is now readable by a machine, a picture of the address is sent down to Louisville, Kentucky, where a person types it in and it is electronically sent back so a barcode can be put on it. From there, all the barcoded mail is sent to distribution centers, where the envelopes are sorted by delivery route and dropped off at their destination, like our mailbox in Clio. I'm Kristen Harris reporting for YPR.
Kids all over mid-Michigan are involved in sports. One group in Saginaw has even received top honors. Sara Martinez spent some time with them and has their story.
At first, this may seem like any other martial arts class, but these are not your typical students. Some of them are Taekwondo champions.
The number one thing Taekwondo does for kids is build up self-confidence in the kids. Taekwondo has a wider variety of foot techniques than any other martial arts, and to me, it's the number one martial art.
Last March, these kids claimed 10 medals in the Michigan State Championships and 5 in the Junior Olympic Nationals.
The students worked very hard to accomplish what they did, so it was a very gratifying feeling for me to have trained them. They did very well at the Nationals, and I'm very proud of my students.
When you go to tournaments, whether you win or lose, you always have fun.
The art of Taekwondo does not come easily. These kids have to practice a lot to keep up their skills.
The students who went to Nationals, they practiced every day, 5 days a week, sometimes 3, 4, 5 hours a day, every single day, about 3 months prior to the tournament. Sparring is like a controlled fighting. In Taekwondo competition, we score full contact to the body and light contact to the head for the kids, for the juniors.
I like sparring because it's fun and, you just get to fight, spar bigger people, and it's a challenge.
Both the kids and their parents say that the sport has done good things for them.
I think it gave me more self-confidence and helped me be the best I can be.
He's done absolutely marvelous here, and it's carried over to other aspects of his life. I think he's done fantastic.
From LIMS Academy in Saginaw, I'm Sara Martinez reporting for YPR.
If you would like to get involved, you can look in the yellow pages under Martial Arts for lessons available in your area.
We have to take a break, but don't go away. We'll be announcing the results of the YPR audition soon. are a lot of talented kids in mid-Michigan. Some of them have even received national awards for their abilities. Alyssa Rivera spent some time with one special group of kids and has their story.
Every year, kids from dance studios all over Michigan come together to compete. There are routines from tap to ballet and jazz to gymnastics. But the best dancers at the state competition don't come from big schools in Detroit or Grand Rapids. They come from this small town, Chesaning, at the Bohaty School of Dance.
Rachel, you got to work on that coming up. It doesn't look advanced enough. Okay?
While some of the dance studios in competition have as many as 2,000 kids, the Bohaty studio has only 200. But that means those kids work harder and do better than the bigger studios. And not only do the kids here win 2 of the 5 first-place awards in the 13 and above age group, but they also win all of the 12 and under categories.
To be able to have such a small group of children take on these big ones and not only compare to them, but to score higher and to actually beat them and take 5 of the 5 overall winning awards, that was quite a big accomplishment.
Kids from this studio have competed nationally 7 times and are consistently in the top 5, winning at least 1 first-place award each time.
It's basically our teacher, Renee Bohaty, for keep on pushing us, encouraging us for all the stuff that we do really good, and she wants us to keep on doing it and keep on trying our best.
Okay, lock your knees really straight, Danielle. Better.
She works us hard, and she tries to make us do better every day, and she's really cool.
Lots of people would say dance is just for girls, but the boys from the studio have top scores on their physical fitness tests and actually do better in sports.
When I first started, I didn't really think that dance was a guy thing. I thought it was just the girls. But then I got going, and I really have a lot of friends now because in dance they've been showing me how to do stuff, and it's just made me a lot faster runner.
Way back in the old days, like Gene Kelly, and I love his tap dancing. Everything that I do is like really, really hard at the beginning, but after you practice a whole bunch of times, it really clicks in your head and you know it like that.
These kids, when they get to go to their first competition, they're very nervous and very scared, and after they get out there, they are so excited and they decide they're going to do the best that they can. They learn self-confidence and they work really hard and they get a lot of benefits from it.
When I first went, I was really, really scared, but after a while, I kind of got better and better, and that's what just kept me in because I loved it.
I think dance has changed my attitude towards many things, and it's just changed my whole life. I mean, instead of sitting home and doing nothing, I'm very active, and it's just made me a lot better person.
So whether you're looking for a career or just a fun hobby, dance is something that will help you for the rest of your life. In Chesaning, I'm Alyssa Rivera reporting for YPR.
This green wall is used by the WEYI meteorologist to show information on a weather computer, like this flyby of the United States. Speaking of flying, if you could have a superpower, what would it be? Would you like to have X-ray vision or incredible strength? We asked some kids at Elms Road Elementary in Swartz Creek, and this is what they told us in our YPR Question of the Week.
If I could have a superpower, it would be that there would be peace on Earth and it would be a better place.
I would have X-ray vision so I can see through walls and what people are doing.
A force field because I don't want to get hurt.
I could fly so I could do more things at one time.
If I had a superpower, I would be the fastest runner, so if I was in a race, I'd win all the time.
I would go fast so I could get all my work done.
If I had a superpower, I'd want to morph because then I could change into different animals like an eagle or a wolf.
I would like to fly because you could get places faster.
I'd have a superpower that McDonald's would come right to me because I hate going to McDonald's, like driving to McDonald's every time I want to go.
I would like to fly so I could go to school faster.
I would have strength because I wouldn't, so I could carry my books and they wouldn't be so heavy.
If I could have a superpower, I'd let myself look like anybody I'd like to. And my sidekick would be Mrs. Field, so I could have her macadamia and white chunk cookies whenever I wanted to.
If you have a suggestion for the question of the week or a story idea for YPR, drop us a line. The address is Young People's Report, P.O. Box 250, Clio, Michigan 48420. You can also call, send us a fax, or email us at WEYI@AOL.com. You never know, you could be our next story.
We have to take another break, but when we come back, we'll take a look behind the scenes at a local radio station.
Don't go away.
Every morning, people all over mid-Michigan wake up to the voices of WIOG's morning team. We sent Katie Prast behind the scenes to spend a morning with Mike and Mindy, and she filed this report.
They're a part of many people's lives. They wake up lots of people, have breakfast with thousands, and even travel to offices and schools all over town. But you probably don't even recognize them. That's because most people only hear them. They're morning radio hosts at one of the most popular stations in the area.
102.5 WIOG, the best hits of the 80s and 90s. It's Mike and Mindy. Welcome to Wednesday, 7:49.
Variable cloudiness today.
As host of the morning show at WIOG, part of the excitement and magic comes from working together, live and uncut.
The name of the game is High Low. Hi, it's me, your pit boss, Mike. And there she is, our high-class showgirl, Mindy.
Hiya, honey. How you doing this morning?
Mindy is an incredibly gifted human being. She's that human sound effects machine. She's a pretty strange woman, don't you think? We have a lot of spontaneity. I think she's an interesting person to work with.
What's it like working together?
It's just look at him. That gives you a good idea what it's like to work with him. He's crazy. He's really fun. He's got lots of fun characters. He's spontaneous, and we have a good fun time. We laugh every morning.
Mike and Mindy work well together, but what happens when they make a mistake?
We never make mistakes.
We don't make mistakes. That's why we have editing. We practice a lot before we go on just to make sure everything is clear. We know what we're going to say, and if we make a mistake, Mike's great at covering for me and himself.
So what advice do these pros have about getting a job in radio?
Don't. You know, television works much better. Look, I mean, you're making much better money than we are. You're in a much more prestigious position than we are. You look better on camera than we do. That's why we have faces for radio.
If it's something you want to do it. I think that you got to do what you love, follow your heart, follow your dream, and don't focus on money in life, because if you're doing what you love, the money's going to come.
But is radio a good career?
Yes, it is, because it beats working for a living.
If you don't mind getting up early and you love to have fun, it's a great job. If you really like it, go for it.
When I was a kid, I always had this fascination about radio. Believe it or not, when I was like 4 or 5 years old, I used to think a radio station was this huge building, and that every group that performed actually was set up in the studio. They do the song, and then, you know, they would leave, and then the next band would come in and set up. And I really thought that that's how that worked, until I actually walked into a radio station in Chicago, and there was this room that's really not much bigger than the room we're in right now. And I said, that's it? That's how it happened? But I used to mimic disc jockeys when I was a kid, and I used to talk into a toilet paper roll. You know, it's amazing with what you can do with one of these toilet paper rolls. You know, you put it against your mouth, and all of a sudden you become a real radio guy. Of course, a bigger tube makes these kinds of sounds. That's the sound of our career going down the toilet.
And if their career really goes down the toilet, I'm ready to take over. After all, who said good-looking people can't be on the radio? From the WIOG studios in Saginaw, I'm Katie Prast reporting for YPR.
Mike and Mindy have to be very creative and spontaneous when they're on the air. On TV, it's a little different. They read scripts from this thing called a prompter, and most stories that you see started earlier in the day and took a lot of planning. We sent David Patton to spend a day with one reporter, and he filed this report.
Everyone have a great day.
Every morning, Arturo Santiago shoots his morning news briefs. But that is just the beginning of his hectic day.
Addison Corp on David Melfi. His jury selection begins today.
After he leaves the news desk, he goes to the morning news meeting where everyone gets together to decide who gets which stories.
In Flint and Saginaw all day today. AmeriCorps volunteers are packing boxes for the Salvation Army's Christmas Food Basket Project.
With those decisions made, the reporters and photographers head out to work on their stories.
When I decide what I want to go into the story, I'll usually start off thinking about it on the way to the story. I'll start piecing it together, what questions I want to ask, what direction I may want to take the story in, and what would the good questions be to ask, and what would the people like to know about this story.
Arturo's story takes him to the food bank of Eastern Michigan, where kids are helping fill boxes with food for the hungry.
Okay, Bev, I'm going to put this on you.
While Arturo tracks down interviews, Jeff Moore, the photographer, gets the best shots he can to show the kids at work.
It's going to be a little bit bright. Okay, Bev, first of all, why don't you go through it again? What's happening here today? What goes into these packs, and when are they going to be distributed? What do you think the enthusiasm is like for the group of you? I think you got some good shots, though. I think you got some good action shots.
You have to understand the story. You have to, you read the story, what's going on, and just be aware of what's going on around you, try and get the most creative shots, steady shots.
I like Jeff because he has fun when I want to have fun. My work is fun. Every day I come in, no matter what story I'm doing, it's fun for me. And he is one of those people, one of those photographers that just love to go out and shoot. They love to put things together.
I kind of know, what he wants. I mean, he just gives me an idea, and I can just pretty much, I know what he's thinking, so I go out and get it.
I review all my video before I put it together. While I'm reviewing it, I try to keep in mind what shots I want, what quotes I want.
Now, the holiday pack includes not only a holiday meal, including all the fixings for a holiday meal, including potatoes,
Okay, here we go with cut number 1 in 3, 2, 1. They're packing food for those in need at Christmas. The Food Bank of Eastern Michigan wants to distribute 6,700 boxes of food to families in mid-Michigan, with a little help from their friends.
After reading his voice track, Arturo returns to the editor to put the story together. This is where the interviews, the shots of the kids working, and Arturo's voice all come together. At home, viewers saw the beginning of the story like this.
Arturo Santiago shows us their efforts to double their output in the second year of their holiday pack program.
They're packing food for those in need at Christmas. The Food Bank of Eastern Michigan wants to distribute 6,700 boxes of food to families in mid-Michigan.
While the topics may be different, most stories for the news are put together much the same way, including this one. From the WEYI studios in Clio, I'm David Patton reporting for YPR.
We have to take another break, but when we come back, we'll visit with some kids who are learning a new way to speak.
We'll also announce the results of our YPR audition.
Don't go away. Even for professionals, like TV news anchors and reporters, speaking in front of people can be scary. However, some local kids are learning to overcome their fears. David Halloran sat in on a class with them and filed this report.
Most people have a fear of speaking in front of large groups, but these kids are fighting their fear early. Every Tuesday, here at Parkdale Elementary in Midland, 2 men from Dow Chemical come to teach public speaking to a 5th grade class.
They learn a lot of neat skills, physical skills and delivery skills. So they feel good about themselves and they come away with a lot more skills.
The students gave speeches about their science fair projects and were videotaped so they can see how they did before and after the program.
Hi, my name is Mitch. My book was hard, but I finished. You learn things about how to speak, and you go in front of an audience and speak of speech.
The program is called Don't Freak, Speak, and it is having positive results.
This program helps me by making my voice be clear and knowing that I can pay attention to people when I'm talking and they can pay attention to me.
I prefer to think of it as a tool that they can put in their toolbox, an imaginary toolbox that they've got, something that they'll take throughout their life, because it isn't just for today, and so they have a tool to put in their toolbox, something they can use lifelong.
The most important thing about the program is teaching self-esteem at an early age.
They learn feedback skills that can either help positively build that self-esteem or tear it apart, and obviously we were having them help build it up. So self-esteem is the main reason that this course is important for the kids.
Before we learn the skills, the performance is really kind of not very good. And then after we learn the skills and do everything, then
that's partially just because
we kind of look like a professional or something.
Although it is expensive, with Oprah Winbucker, you get the most bang for your buck.
All right.
From Parkdale Elementary in Midland, I'm David Halloran reporting for YPR.
Speaking in front of people can be difficult, especially when you're giving a report, a speech, or even auditioning.
Almost 300 kids recently found that out in the Young People's Report auditions. Jessica Taylor was at both auditions and has our story along with the results.
Back in October, Young People's Report held auditions for reporter positions in 2 different locations. While about 100 kids auditioned at the Cortland Center in Burton, over 200 were scheduled at the Bay City Mall. Since both producers were working with different kids, the auditions were recorded on tapes. Back at the station, the producers, Karen Scarborough and Jeff Simonton, spent many hours watching the 15 tapes and scoring the auditions. The result was a computerized list of the highest scoring kids. Then they went back and took another look at the best 40 auditions and slowly cut the group in half, narrowing the list down to 20. That's the list here on the computer. The newest YPR reporters in the order that they auditioned are Amanda Rodriguez, a 4th grader at Cook Elementary, Kyle McIntosh, a 5th grader at City School, Crystal Lucas Perry, a 4th grader at City School, Lauren Rosella, a 5th grader at Buffy Elementary, Benjamin Scott, a 4th grader at Myers Elementary, Paul Drake, a 5th grader at Warwick Point, Tiffany Prout, a 4th grader at Central Elementary, Adrian Pojan, a 5th grader at Central Elementary, Josh Hancock, a 4th grader at Reed Elementary, Patrice Ford, a 6th grader at Bridgeport Middle School, Alyssa Roehmer, a 3rd grader at Pullen Elementary, Jordan Hamling, a 4th grader at Bethlehem Lutheran, Katie Travis, a 5th grader at Kolb Elementary, Andrew Grafe, a 5th grader at Hemmeter Elementary, Addison Peil, a 4th grader at Bangor West Elementary, Jacquie Thomas, a 4th grader at Bethlehem Lutheran, John Simpkins, a 4th grader at City School, Peter Travis, a 4th grader at Hampton Elementary, Sam Howell, a 6th grader at Hanley Elementary, and Samantha Greenberg, a 3rd grader at Hanley Elementary. Thanks to everyone who tried out, and congratulations to our new reporters. From the WEYI studios, I'm Jessica Taylor reporting for YPR.
The producers of YPR were extremely happy with the turnout for auditions.
They said that a lot of talented kids tried out and that there were many difficult decisions.
That's all the time we have this week. Thanks for joining us.
Have a great week. Speaking in front of people can be difficult. Okay. One second.
So many lights there.
And later on in the show, we'll go behind the scenes and show you how a news story is put together.
I didn't know when she was ending.
David Halloran sat in on a class of them and filed this report.
We sent David Patton to spend a day with one reporter, and he filed this report. I scrunched my face up again. I'll just scrunch enough. The producers of YPR were extremely... Scrunched my face again. Why am I doing that? I don't know.